What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have some big news to talk about today. We're going to cover Zoom stocks earnings, what's going on with monkeypox in the stock market right now. We also have some big things to cover in terms of economic data and events for this week. But all in all, we have a lot of crazy things going on in the market and a lot of important things to know. But Tom, Zoom stock popped up on earnings for the first time in a while. So what is going on with Zoom stock?
Yeah, this is awesome. They're so high right now. They're even up above $100, which I thought would be a pretty hard resistance to get through here. But as we know, sometimes these earnings moves can be parabolic. We can see the EPS is posted down here. So it came in at 1.03, beating an expectation of like 0.88. Some analysts had that expectation at 0.87, but overall, that's awesome to see them beat on EPS. The revenue came in right around expectations as well. But the awesome numbers are right here, Mike. So the first quarter total revenue of $1.073 billion was up 12% year over year. So that's actually pretty big, 12% growth year over year. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it is a nice steady number there. Their GAAP operating margin was up actually they up to 17.4%. And the non-operating margin was up to 37.2% for everybody who's into that. But Mike, I mean, overall, it was pretty good numbers here across the board. Whenever I scroll down, I look at their customer metrics. I was also really happy to see that they have approximately 198,900 enterprise customers, up 24% year over year. And then they also had more customers contributing more than $100,000 in trailing 12 months revenue. That was up 46% year over year. So they're growing some of those really like high priority customers there, which I think is really good.
Yep, so they actually had a record quarter in terms of revenue, which is awesome to see. Zoom is a long-term stock for me. I plan on holding them for a while, and it's nice to see the stock finally pop up. They're also a growth stock, as we all know, but unlike a lot of other growth stocks, Zoom actually has pretty nice fundamentals. Zoom right now has around $5.7 billion in cash, and they only have around a $27 billion market cap. They are cash flow positive. They are a profitable company. So like they're actually in good standing unlike a lot of other growth plays. So that's awesome. I really like Zoom as a long-term play, and I think the stock's at a great level. So it's awesome to see the stock skyrocketing in after hours so far right now. And while, their revenue isn't growing at like a mind-blowing pace, but 12% year over year is definitely respectable. And another thing to keep in mind is that this is basically happening as the world is reopening. So that's great to see. And I also love how they're reinvesting a lot back into their platform.
Yeah, that's going to be big. Reinvesting back is always important. And these companies lately seem to be doing that quite a bit. So I'm glad to see that they're reinvesting in themselves. And I think that the Zoom platform is pretty awesome, Mike. We're using it right now, actually. So I think it's a great platform, and hopefully it starts to come back. We're right around that $100 price point still, up to 103, 104 here. And after hours, I still think this is a great long-term buy down here at the bottom, Mike. And obviously, it could always continue maybe lower for a couple months if the market is still shaky. But overall, I think it's still a great longer-term pickup. And I'm sure that implied volatility is going to get crushed in the morning tomorrow.
Exactly, which is good. I'll take it. I would love for it to calm down a little bit. But either way, it's awesome to see Zoom stock back on the rise. But Tom, I know that there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world right now, and monkeypox is one of them. So what is going on with that?
Yeah, so this is a pretty weird thing, guys. So monkeypox overall obviously has been kind of I should say, like, it's been kind of having an outbreak, okay, across the world. And this is just not a good thing to see. There's countries even like Belgium here introducing mandatory quarantines as their cases are rising. And you can see here what monkeypox is. It's kind of like a version of, you could say chicken pox or like smallpox. You get lesions on the skin, and obviously they don't look too good. This is another picture that might show like what it could also look like. Sometimes it kind of looks like pimples, but as we know, it's not a good disease. There's as they're saying here, 92 cases only in 12 countries. But keep in mind that there might be a lot more cases out there that people, might not be catching. Obviously, in a lot of countries, there's not too much technology and stuff. So we have to keep that in mind. But UK was one of the new countries that got the virus. But as we know, CNBC put out this headline here saying that it's also spreading through sex, believe it or not. So, take that for however you want, but it seems like a pretty crazy virus, Mike. And, I will say, like, the coronavirus is scary, but it's something you don't really see too much. Obviously you're affected by it, but you can't like see spots on yourself. This one is kind of scary, actually.
Yeah, so from what I've heard and from what I've researched, no one is expecting there to be breakouts of monkeypox like we saw with COVID. So that is good news, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but it's pretty crazy that Belgium is having mandatory quarantines, which that's good though. I'm glad that they're that they're getting it under control sooner rather than later. But yeah, there's only 92 cases. No reason to freak out yet, but as we know, the media might try to turn this into a bit of a frenzy. I will say the SPY has done pretty well today, actually recovered up pretty good. A lot of these bank stocks actually had great news this morning too, Mike. Like Bank of America was really flying up along with JP Morgan. And JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon actually had some pretty good statements here. So they pretty much have had a goal to hit 17% returns on their tangible common equity. And he says that remains their target. And then as we go down here, he says there's a very good chance that they'll hit that target this year. So overall, it sounds like good statements from him. Also, Bank of America said that bank balances have been growing a lot. So overall, these bank stocks just seem to really like the news today between both of these companies, and they really flew up throughout the day. Like JP Morgan was up 6%, which is huge for a big bank like them.
Yeah, so it's awesome to see those financial stocks finally rising. They've been struggling so much over the past year, especially. So it's nice to see them finally popping up. And like you said, the market actually did pretty good today, even with the relatively negative monkeypox news.
Yeah, I thought that might bring the market down a little bit, but the SPY really roared back up to life here. I'm sure the banks helped out a little bit, but there was quite a few stocks up in the green today. Besides banks, Apple was actually up 4%. They're kind of trying to recover back up after their misfortunes as of late. Microsoft was coming up too. Even like Costco was starting to recover. So I feel like today was just a bit of a recovery day in the market. I will say I don't think that the selling pressure is 100% done. But overall, SPY did have a good day. We're up around that resistance here. We pretty much like triple topped right around like 397.75, somewhere really close to there today. So hopefully we can break that tomorrow and keep going because we're really close to $400. And I'm curious to see if we're going to be able to break that or not.
Yeah, so while it was a pretty good day in the stock market overall today, we're not in the clear yet because there are three major events happening this week. We have Powell speaking tomorrow at 12:20 p.m. Eastern time, so keep that in mind. And then on Wednesday, we have the FOMC minutes event, which will be pretty important as well. Those release at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then we have the GDP growth rate on Thursday before market open that will release at around 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. The GDP growth rate will be very important because if that comes in negative, technically we are in a recession.
Yeah, that's going to be terrible, Mike. People don't even understand, I don't think, how close we really are. Like if that number comes in negative, it'll be the second consecutive time that this has happened. And that's terrible. That means that it's going to officially be a recession. And, the headlines are probably going to make the market go crazy there for a couple days. So I hope that we don't end up going into a recession. Some analysts say that it's inevitable. Some say that, it's not going to happen right now. But, there's a lot of conflicting views around it. I hope it doesn't happen, Mike. But, with the way the market's been lately, I honestly would not be surprised. Those minutes are also going to be pretty important Wednesday around 2 p.m. Eastern time too. Those minutes are going to show, what they talked about at the last FOMC meeting, which will be pretty insightful. But as we know, we already know what the Fed's kind of thinking at this point: raise rates to combat inflation.
Yep, exactly. But Tom, do you have any favorite setups in the market right now? I know some stocks had a great day while some other stocks really lagged behind.
Yeah, so some of my favorite setups today really have been the banks, of course, like I mentioned. Those are really flying up. But some other stocks that were starting to do really good was actually some of the value plays, like I mentioned. Coca-Cola had a great day up around $63. Looks like a pretty good resistance there. Like if we could maybe break above this with some good momentum tomorrow, maybe we can have a nice run up, kind of like we did today. A lot of stocks were running. I saw Ford was another one that caught my eye back to the upside. I've been looking at this one a lot lately, Mike, especially for like a longer term play. They're dipping back down to around $12 after that recent uptrend they had, all the way up to $26 almost, with all that EV hype that was going on. So I'm looking at Ford a lot, General Motors. A lot of these tech stocks, say like AMD and Nvidia, also recovered up pretty well. So maybe we'll see the chip stocks also continue up. Looks like AMD was actually kind of breaking out here in after hours. And I know Nvidia actually reports earnings later this week, so that's going to be pretty big for them too.
All right, there we go. Can you actually pull up the earnings calendar?
Yeah, definitely. So Nvidia's on Wednesday there. We have Zoom tonight, of course, like we looked at. Nordstrom's going to be Tuesday after close. We have Best Buy before open. So definitely some pretty big ones this week, Mike. I know Snowflake is going to be pretty big Wednesday. Costco is going to be really big with the way Walmart and Target have been dipping down. I mean, if Costco reports negative numbers, I feel bad for the retailers at this point, Mike. They've been getting crushed.
No doubt. And then also Alibaba on Thursday too. That'll also be pretty big. So good stuff there. And then before we move on, I just want to give a giant shout out to our member of the day, The Flash. Huge shout out to The Flash. Thanks so much for being an active member of the Stocked Up Discord. You've been with us for almost 2 years now. So huge shout out to The Flash. Tom and I really appreciate you. But Tom, let's get right into these momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have Disney to the upside.
Yeah, good old Disney today had a nice day, 3.33%. Go ahead and make them break above 106.25.
All right, and with the next one, we have JP Morgan also to the upside.
Yeah, this one's awesome here. Go ahead and make them break out above 126.57, which is that high of day.
And then with the last one, we have Chewy also to the upside.
Yeah, it was a pretty good day for a lot of stocks. Go ahead and make Chewy break out above 25.10.
Sounds good. So we were watching Chewy, JP Morgan, and Disney for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. But overall, the market had a pretty good day today. Stocks are at pretty good levels for the most part, and we do have a couple big events this week, so we're not in the clear yet. Be prepared for more volatility. It's going to get exciting. Thursday will probably be the most important day, considering we'll get the GDP data, and we have a couple big earnings. So either way, I'm very excited for the week. And Tom, do you have any last-minute thoughts or anything like that?
Yeah, these data points are going to be big, guys. The Feds, they look really hard at those GDP numbers, of course. They look at a lot of different data points. So whenever you see these things coming out, especially with rates and stuff starting to rise and the Feds becoming obviously like increased in like the news and different articles and stuff like that, it's going to be big. Lots of people are going to be watching those numbers. So definitely keep your eyes on that. Mike, I actually noticed that GLD and some of those commodities were kind of popping up today. So who knows, maybe heading into some of these crazy events, maybe gold and some of those metals could be the way to go.
You know it. And then also, if you trade options, check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. Our bot's pretty awesome, and you can chat with Tom and myself all day long. You get access to day trades, swing trades, and a bunch of custom bots. Definitely check it out. The link is in the description and the comments down below. You can cancel at any time, and we have a coupon running. But besides that, let's have a great week.